Greetings, Dr. Mark Winton here from the University of Central Florida Department of Criminal Justice, and I'd like to welcome you to the genocide course. First, I wanted to start out just by presenting a few questions, such as, why did you decide to take this course? Likewise, I could ask, why did I decide to teach this course or create this course? What do you hope to gain from this course? And what would I like you to gain from this course? I think that maybe those questions will be better answered at the end of the semester rather than the beginning, but certainly something to think about. Some more questions we can begin to address. Why has the criminal justice field neglected the study of genocide? Even though we're seeing more research published and more courses constructed on genocide and criminal justice programs, it's still a relatively rare area to publish and to teach about. Another thing we might ask is, how many genocides are currently occurring right now? And then we might ask, how many genocides can we name from the past 50 years, or the past 100 years? And finally, and we'll address this in this video, how should we define the term genocide? This course is interdisciplinary and will use a criminal justice lens, but will also use a variety of disciplines throughout the course, such as sociology, political science, anthropology, and psychology, and other fields that provide us insight. We also recognize that this course will bring up many topics that could lead to debates and high level of emotional intensity. And I wanted to mention a few things about my background, that I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in counseling and a master's degree in applied sociology and a doctorate in sociology. What I would like to mention is that my bachelor's degree in psychology and my Master of Arts degree in applied sociology are from UCF, so I am a proud alumni. I started teaching at UCF in 1990. That was quite a long time ago. And before I went into teaching and research, I worked in the forensic mental health field for a while with a focus on sex crimes. I've published in the areas of psychotherapy, sex crimes, interpersonal violence, homicide, torture, and genocide. I started studying genocide professionally in 2001 and developed an undergrad and a graduate course. Some of the major themes that we'll see throughout the course will be, for example, the agency versus structure debate. In other words, how much agency, control, decision-making do individuals have in situations where genocides are perpetrated, and how does the structure, organization of the society influence that? We'll also look at micro-macro approaches, looking at individuals and small groups all the way up to the larger societies. We'll look at comparative analysis of cases and also individual case studies. In essence, we'll be studying victims, perpetrators, and bystanders, and also we'll see their rescuers that we have in all of the genocides as well. We'll also continue to look at debates regarding definitions and also the concept of evil. In his edited book, Centuries of Genocide, Dr. Toten in 2022 asks several questions in organizing a comparative analysis of genocide, such as who committed the genocide, how was it committed, why, who were the victims, who was involved, what were the historical forces and trends that were at work that led to the genocide, what was the long-range impact, what has been the response to the genocide, and is there agreement or disagreement among scholars, and how do people react today? I also have on the PowerPoint a couple other slides on organizing an analysis of genocide. For example, Semlin's work on investigating massacres. But let's move on to the definitions. In 1944, Raphael Lemkin coined the term genocide by combining genus, referring to nation, tribe, or race, with side, referring to killing. And based on Lemkin's work, we see the development and implementation of the United Nations Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, which was constructed in 1948. Looking at the UN definition, genocide would be acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily injury or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within a group, and forcefully transferring children of the group to another group. And that is from the Genocide Convention, Article 2. We might also ask, what is missing from the Genocide Convention definition? And also we run into the situation of defining intent. What does intent mean? Professor Fine states that intent is purposeful action or inaction. And we'll see that comes up in the cases regarding the legal proceedings. I also put a few other definitions on the PowerPoint, like Dr. Helen Fine's definition. Genocide is sustained purposeful action by a perpetrator to physically destroy a collectivity directly or indirectly through interdiction of the biological and social reproduction of group members, sustained regardless of the surrender or lack of threat offered by the victim. And that's from page 24, her 1993 book, Genocide, A Sociological Perspective, the third edition published by Sage. Chalk and Johansson in 1990 in their book, The History and Sociology of Genocide, look at types of genocide as an organizing theme throughout their edited text, and they have four. 1, to eliminate a real or potential threat. 2, to spread terror among real or potential enemies. 3, to acquire economic wealth. And 4, to implement a belief, a theory, or an ideology. We also have other terms that we'll see used throughout the semester that relate to genocide, for example, politicide. We'll look at the relationship between terrorism and genocide. We see some other terms that will come up, such as ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity, massacres, war crimes, and other terms that we'll see throughout the semester. In conclusion, I believe that we could address every crime covered in our criminal justice curriculum during this course. For example, arson, sex trafficking, death investigation, homicide, international law. It seems that every crime is accounted for in in these cases. And so I think I would conclude by thinking about how this course fits into criminal justice research and criminal justice work, and I welcome you to the course.